So smart contracts is efficient when it comes to all this process, making it fast. So there are certain benefits of this. It is fast, it is secure because we're using blockchain here, and it builds trust, which is very important. So not just Amazon, Flipkart, but all these companies, all this e-commerce company, if they can implement smart contracts, people will trust them, right? Because trust is the issue here.
Welcome back to Investment Tribe, where you've subscribed because you want to learn all about cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and other digital assets. Don't forget to leave us a thumbs up and enable the notifications so you'll be alerted whenever we post a new video. And if you have any questions or recommendations, please share them in the comment section below. In this video, we will explain in detail the concept of smart contracts. They are essential in blockchain networks, so if you really want to get into the crypto sphere, you must have at least a basic knowledge of smart contracts. Let's start with an analogy. You know the crowdsourcing platform KICKSTARTER, right? When you have an idea but don't have the money, you make one, hoping that other people will love your project and donate to it. For example, I might have an idea for a great novel. Well, I'd create a Kickstarter page and say that I have a goal of getting $1,000 for the publication. The people who will donate at least $10 will have a pre-copy of the book in return. Say the campaign was successful and it received $1,300 in donations. Since I reached my goal of $1,000, Kickstarter will give me the entire donated money. But on the other hand, if I didn't achieve the $1,000 goal, I wouldn't get anything, and Kickstarter will just return all that money to the donors. A smart contract is precisely like this. It's a piece of code that does something if something happens. In other words, it has trigger points that when activated, will do a function. If you're familiar with computer programming, you know if-then statements, right? Well, a lot of people call smart contracts if this, then that. The most common smart contracts are on the Ethereum network. A basic example of a smart contract is a piece of code that says, if you give me 5 ETHs, then I will provide you with 20 ADA tokens. But smart contracts possibilities are endless. You need to know two main things that make them beneficial to everyone. The first is that they are immutable, meaning they cannot change. They are just computer code, but no one can ever change it once they are there. You might know now the negative effect of this. Once there's a bug on the code or it's inefficient, it will stay on the blockchain and be a bug forever. You could just create a new smart contract that fixes that bug and tell people not to use the old one. This solution is typical. In fact, smart contract coders do this all the time. The second thing you need to know is that they are distributed, meaning there are no discrepancies. These smart contracts are agreements between a few parties online and can execute automatically with completed certain conditions. Smart contracts are a piece of code designed to remove human error and issues, so you could not hire a lawyer to change or remove the contract even if you wanted to. The code is on a bunch of computers around the world. Anyone can see your smart contract and how you participated in it. So now we have financial agreements that nobody can argue because they're automatically implemented, unchangeable, and easily accessible to everyone. So to help you further understand this technology, here are some examples. The first scenario is insurance. In essence, insurances are if-then statements, right? If something happens to you or your assets, then the insurance will pay you. For example, Farmer John has to give $2,000 for crop insurance. If it's more than 95 degrees for 4 days in Missouri, the contract says that Farmer John will receive $10,000. Farmer John can be sure that if his crops die from a heat wave, the smart contract will know that it happened due to temperature changes and pay him out his $10,000 insurance. All transactions are automatic. How will a simple piece of code know the actual temperature in Missouri? Well, with the help of something called oracles. They are helpful tools for any smart contract. They give real-world information to anything on the blockchain. It's more complicated than that and deserves a separate video. Another question that needs addressing is where will the smart contract get the initial $100,000? The answer is easy, because the system will employ what the real-world insurance companies are doing. They need to have a pool of investment money to front it. They cannot do anything with those funds until the end of the summer, because at the moment, the smart contract owns that money. So if Farmer John's crop stayed alive, he would not receive the insurance. The initial investment gets paid back to the investors. That's why insurance could be a very profitable use of smart contracts. The second example of a good reason to have a smart contract is to buy a house. So imagine you took the deed of the house or the apartment you're living in and put it on the blockchain. You or the bank don't own it anymore. It's owned by whoever has the deed on the blockchain. So smart contract can speed up the process of buying and selling real estate. It can do everything from advertising the house, securing the funding, using escrow, getting insurance, and the dreaded closing. A buyer could just send an offer right on the blockchain, and the seller can accept or deny within minutes. If the seller accepts the offer, the buyer will immediately own the new deed, and the seller will have the payment. This method would be handy for anyone who wants to get into the real estate market but are afraid of the banks. The third example is what's called a flash loan. Smart contracts can handle a borrowing of $10 million without money down, as long as the code says to pay it back at the exact same time. Sounds confusing? Well, imagine you could buy some SHIB token for 50 cents on Coinbase and then sell it for 55 cents on Gemini. You could theoretically borrow $10 million and buy a whole bunch of Shiba Inu tokens on Coinbase and then sell it to Gemini, and then pay back the original loan of $10 million with some interest. So if you do the math, you will profit $500,000 in just a matter of seconds. This process is called flash loan, and some guy literally made $360,000 in a few minutes by knowing how to code the smart contract. But there's a catch. It can simulate what you programmed and see if it would pay back the lender after. It does the code, and if it can do that, it runs the code, and you can borrow those funds to do whatever you want. You could never do this with traditional finance. Like, you cannot walk in a bank and borrow $10 million and say, "I will pay it back after 1 minute, I promise." The teller will definitely call security if you do that. But with blockchain technology, you can. And for our last example, we have token switching. This process is another practical thing you can do with the help of smart contracts. The first step in token switching is to create a pool of money with 2 different tokens. And then, you write smart contracts to allow traders to switch one token for another. You need to keep a steady value in the pool, so you write in the code that the other token must increase its price as one increases in volume. And that's it. You roughly created a decentralized exchange platform. You can create a smart contract that says, if you give me 20 oranges, I'll give you 30 bananas. Except the oranges and bananas are, say, Ethereum and Cardano. So a smart contract can allow you to switch tokens. Token switching opens up a whole new world for day traders or investors that want to get into a specific coin that isn't currently on a major exchange like Coinbase. Instead, they could buy an available coin and then use the decentralized exchange to swap those tokens. That's it for our video today. We hope you understand what smart contracts are and why they are essential in the crypto sphere. If you have other questions, post them in the comment section below, and we might create a video talking about that topic. Educating yourself is the first step in conquering this industry. Well, that's all for now. This is Investment Tribe. See you again tomorrow. Keep in mind to like, share, and subscribe.